thank you all for joining us here at the V-Trans boardroom and those joining us online. My name is Mike Hedges. I'm the Structures Program Manager. I know most everybody knows me and the rest of the crew here, but Wayne Simmons, Structures Design Engineer. Here Chris Williams, in charge of the Scoping and Innovation team. Kristen Higgins, I'm sure most of you know, but we've got some new project managers in the Accelerated Bridge Program. Jennifer Fitch, right here, and Rob Young. And we're all going to be making presentations today. So, let's get on with it. Let's try again. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I'm just going to set the stage here. Wayne Simmons is going to come on afterwards and talk about the Accelerated Bridge Program. Jennifer is going to speak about the public outreach component that we started. Kristen's going to speak briefly about the many things that have happened as far as standards and specifications. And Rob's going to talk about streamlining project development, which is important to everybody in this room here. And Chris will talk about his team and innovation that's been going on so far there. And Chris will also talk about how we measure our success with this program. And Wayne's going to wrap everything up for us. So I just wanted to set the background. ERA came through a couple of years back and just cleaned the shelves of all of the bridge projects that we had sitting on the shelf. I think there were 10 or 12 projects at that time, town highway and state bridge projects that were ready to go, and between that and some increased federal funds, we cleaned the shelves, and we've been scrambling really ever since to try to get out different programs. And that the federal funds have been fluctuating during that time frame, but we've been trying to grow the program through this time as well. So we've really increased our preventive maintenance program and some other areas, but we really need to keep that core group of projects going through the pipeline of bridge reconstructions and rehabilitations going through. Tropical Storm Irene really threw a wrench into the works. It threw about a dozen extra projects to us, but it also taught us that there may be a tolerance for bridge closures from the public. So we've taken that as one of our lessons, and so we'd like to do more of that with our Accelerated Bridge Program, but we need to really because of these extra projects that she threw at us. And we just really can't afford to keep developing projects as we have, because when I started in structures, I think the average was about a 9-year development timeline for these projects. And we may still be averaging somewhere at 5 or 5+. So we really can't keep building projects, progressing projects the way we've done it in the past. So this is a slide of the structures budget for the last few years. As you can see, it's grown quite a bit. As I mentioned, the ERA projects, the bridge maintenance projects, the Lake Champlain Bridge, design build projects have really caused these huge fluctuations in the monies that we have for our regular reconstruction and rehabilitation projects. So, with the federal funds that the agency is now getting, which are fairly good, we need to really be advancing our projects more quickly than we have been. And we need to get some extra projects on the shelf to accommodate other fluctuations in funding. As far as the state of the bridges, this slide shows the number of functionally obsolete bridges that we have. Nearly 500 bridges that are considered functionally obsolete, and almost 400 bridges that are structurally deficient. So those sound like really terrible numbers. They're definitely a concern of ours, but actually with the current performance measures that we have in place, we have just met our goals, goals that we set some years back for those different programs, the interstate, state, town highway system. Given what's out there, maybe we need to set our goals a little higher and try to reduce the number of structurally deficient bridges that we have. So, we'd like to improve the conditions that we've got right now. And another thing that we're concerned with is this couple waves of projects that are coming at us. This is a history of the age of our structures. And as you can see, there are two peaks there. One was when the interstate was constructed, and one was the bridges that were built after the flood of 1927. So these bridges are really ripe for work in the very near future, if not they're already here. The 1927 flood bridges are essentially in need of replacement, hundreds of them, as well as rehabilitation of many of the interstate bridges are just right. Those two lines across there, 270, that would be, if we wanted a steady state of bridge construction, that's where we need to be at. As you can see, in the last 20 years, we've been nowhere near that. And 130 are the number of short structures that we have to build every 10 years. So 27 new bridges every year, 13 short structures. That's almost double what we've been producing. So around the turn of the year, the structures division started looking at this and seeing how we could develop projects quicker than we have been. So we put together the framework for an accelerated bridge program, and we've been receiving really good support. The legislature had a presentation, and they were all over it. They've been trying to get us to use precast members and advance projects in their communities much quicker. The executive staff, it was shortly after Governor Shumlin's election, before the current secretary and deputy came into place, they met with us and they tried to see how much quicker we could produce projects. There's a lot of support for the bridges here in our administration, and we've developed a tentative plan to move 50 projects worth about $50 million in 50 months with some bonding monies, and then came along Tropical Storm Irene, kind of put a wrench in that, but the support is there from our executive staff. Just want everybody to realize that. And the RPCs, this program has been spread all over the state. We're getting great support. So this isn't just one bridge or two. We're talking about working dozens of projects into this accelerated bridge program. It's a programmatic approach, and to do that, we need all of your help. We need your support, innovative thinking, and that's why we're all here today, is to get you a background in that and hopefully get your support for this. So with that, I'd like to let Wayne go.
Good morning. I'm actually really excited to be here talking to you folks about what we've been doing recently and about the program. And again, I'd like to welcome everybody that's listening remotely. My name is Wayne Simmons, and I'm a structural design engineer. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time defining what the Accelerated Bridge Program is. It really started out with the idea that we can do business differently. And it was a concept that there are many different ideas out there of how we can do the business differently. And so we kind of have taken the approach of doing things innovatively and doing our business different. One of the big questions that we often get is, so what is the program? What I want to say is that it's really not a separate funding program. I want to be clear about that. What it is it's approximately 25% of the new projects that come into our system under existing funding programs, the Town Highway Bridge Program, the Interstate Program, and the State Bridge Program. So it is not a separate pot of money or a separate appropriation, but it is a program in the sense that we're treating all of these projects similarly once they're identified for the Accelerated Bridge Program. We have a plan that, with the 25% that we're initially starting with, that we really want to look to scale this program larger, to take an opportunity in the future, if it makes sense, to do 30 or 40%, but start with 25% because that seems manageable, and it seems like we can demonstrate success with that level. To accomplish this, we developed some goals and objectives, and everybody that came into the conference room here has a hard copy of those goals and objectives. It's probably not the first time that many of you have seen them, but they're pretty well finalized at this point. For those folks that are listening remotely, we'll get you an email with that attachment so you can have those later. So the goals. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on each of the goals, but there are 6 goals of the program. The first one, and the fundamental one that ties into what Mike talked about the need, is that goal number 1 is to improve the condition of Vermont's bridges. It's to do better in that area. The second goal is to find a way to lower costs and create efficiency by doing projects faster. The next goal is really sort of an all-encompassing goal, which is we're looking for ways to do things more efficiently and innovatively. And you're going to hear innovation over and over again as we go through the presentation as a fundamental theme of the Accelerated Bridge Program. The next goal is to adopt accelerated bridge construction as a method of constructing bridges that's standardized in the state of Vermont. We're also going to look to build on other states and other owners' proven approaches to innovation and adopting accelerated bridge delivery. And the last goal is to be transparent and accountable in what we're doing with the program. So I'm going to roll a little bit into the strategies and objectives, but I'm not going to go over every strategy and every objective, but I'm going to go over some themes of them. As I said a moment ago, the biggest theme is innovation in each step of project delivery. And here is really fundamentally why we're hoping to have a conversation with all of you today is we're looking for your ideas and your support in how we can do things innovatively and efficiently. We don't have all of the ideas yet, but we want to promote the idea that you guys should give us your ideas or your approaches to accelerating your piece of the project delivery process, and we want you to be bold. We're willing to try a lot of different things, and some of them may not work, and so we'll basically not take that approach again in the future. But many of the things that we have been trying do work, and we want more ideas in the future. Fundamentally, we want to use technology wherever we can to help us deliver the Accelerated Bridge Program. Today,